And so that was the first time that I saw RoboCop.
Okay.
I was like, you know what?
That's the first time you saw RoboCop?
Sometimes when I'm just home alone, I'm like, what's a movie I've never seen before that's famous?
That people talk about?
Yeah, because it's one of those movies like, you've never seen fill in the blank.
That is true. RoboCop is a classic.
I know, and I was like, I've never watched that movie, and I put it on. I was like, this movie's insane.
I buy that for $1. That's the 80s at its finest, man. I had the video game RoboCop, and the catchphrase was like half man, half robot, all cop. RoboCop. Lois. Yeah, it's a good move. With the guy that the hyena laugh and the acid pouring on the other. If you've never seen RoboCop, I'm sorry, spoilers.
Yeah. Is it too early to do spoilers for RoboCop?
You never know. You never know.
So anyway, you're E.L. Smith.
I am E.L. Smith. Yes.
And you're about to hit the road. Well, hit the ocean.
Hit the ocean. Yeah, I'm about to jump on a cruise ship.
And for how long?
Oh man, for a month. For a whole month.
Dang.
But the people who work on there though, they get contracts, and people from different countries, they're on there like 6 months and stuff like that, 8 months. These people, they be telling me, like last time I was on there, I was talking to the band. So they have like people who play like cover music, and the guy was like, I was only on there for like 3 weeks, but the guy was like, oh yeah, we're on here from June to November. I was like, oh,
at that point,
wow.
do you even own real estate? Like, what's the point?
I guess what's the point? You got a nice setup, but it's pros to that too, because you're just stacking cash.
That's true, because your cost of living is taken care of.
Cost of living is taken care of. You just have to pay your minimum bills back home, but you're not buying gas.
Right.
And you're not buying food.
So when you do stand-up for that long, do you try and mix up your set, or you just do the same thing over and over again because it's a new crowd every night?
Pretty much the same thing. I try to, make it, I try to get new stuff, and I try to get stuff that relates to people on a ship too as well. Because it's a lot of material. So they want sometimes they want 30 minutes, and then sometimes they want like 2:45s or 2:35s, but they don't want you to repeat anything too. So it's a lot of.
So you have had to come up with 90 minutes of content?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. It's not as bad as you think it is though, because you do your first 45 and you realize what you can't do the next 45. So you just go back to your room and just write out another set. And then have that time too. You're talking. You can talk to the crowd, and then also it's on a cruise ship, right?
Yeah.
It's like 8-year-olds, so you don't have to. It don't needs to be like Bill Burr type. It doesn't have to be sophisticated. It could be like I have one where I'm like, okay, you guys want me to keep it PG, but you have an 8-year-old child, and a 75-year-old woman. Like, what do I say to even relate?
I feel like there's a lot of crossover there.
Yeah, then that's when I say like, who wears diapers or something like that. Something silly, and then they laugh at that. Like,
so when you say that the crowd isn't sophisticated, you mean they're a little bit.
No, I'm saying the jokes don't have to be. It doesn't have to be like stuff that makes you think. It can literally be like, how about that buffet line? It's like it's crazy, right? The buffet.
And they're like, yeah, the buffet line.
Yeah, because we're all on a cruise. I know what he's talking about. Like they relate to it because we're all stuck out there.
I've never been on a cruise.
Really?
And it kind of, I think it would give me, I would feel claustrophobic. It's a lot of people in one space, and I can't get away if I wanted to.
I guess so. I guess I could see that. The room has a window, but you can't open the window. So I guess I can see why.
They give you a mid-range room then, because not all the rooms have windows, I think. If you get the bottom
windows.
end.
Yeah, if you're like one of the people who like really work there, you're like at the bottom of the boat. So
who gets paid the most on that ship beyond the captain and everything? Like, who of all the entertainers, who do you think is raking in the most cash?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. Like, it all depends on how much your agent negotiated. So it all depends on that, and then how much money your agent's taking out. So, but I think if you stay on there the longest, you'll be the one making the most money because you're just stacking cash. Like, this one guy I was hanging out with, he was at the band, and like he was on there for a really long time, and then he was tipping, and then he'll pull out like wads of money. Like,
wow, really?
I was like, is this belly? Like, what is he doing? Like, this seems like New Jack City, but he just had tons and tons of money. But because he's on there for like, he's been on there for 3 months. He probably stays with someone or parents or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it doesn't live in LA, so rent can't be no more than what, $700 or something. You know, you could find somewhere like for $700.
Yeah.
So he's not paying anything, and he's just stacking money. So it's like, I can definitely see that if you live in a city where you don't have to pay that much. So.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you live in Phoenix, which is where we're recording this.
We are in Phoenix.
Shout out to Do the Damn Thing Studios, where we are in downtown Phoenix. You have been in Phoenix for how long?
Almost a year, but I'm between there, and I still get back to LA sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been almost a year.
I remember the first time I met you was at UCB.
Yeah.
At the
At a mic.
Yeah, it was an open mic stand up.
Yep.
And I remember you were the only person there that didn't swear during your set.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
And that was like, well, he's trying to do it clean, sort of.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, if I don't have to curse, I don't curse. And also, I came up doing clean comedy when I first started. Like, I would be at a comedy club, and they had me and this other guy MC like every other week. And they're like, oh, if you want to MC, you can't swear, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because a lot of times the headliner will want to come through and be the one to make it dirty. Because once a comedy show is dirty, you can't get up there and really be clean and stuff like that. So I just got into the habit of just being clean just when I started out, because that's what they force you to. So, and then also being clean has got me like a lot of stuff. So I'm doing a cruise ship. They want 45 minutes of like squeaky clean stuff.
I mean, who's the top selling touring comic right now? Probably Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan, Joy Coy, probably, or Kevin Hart whenever he wants to.
But Gaffigan,
right
he's
and he's really
very
super clean. He's super, and it's funny too.
Yeah,
but it's really clean, and he has a base. So
you're right.
No, so I'm trying to. Who's the most selling dirty comic right now?
Right now?
Yeah, is it Anthony Jeselnik? Probably.
What do you consider to be dirty?
Cursing.
Any kind of cursing? I don't know. If you're the top selling dirty comic, let us know. We can have you on.
There you go.
Anyway, do you have... one thing I was interested to know is, because I've done stand-up in really weird places.
Yeah.
What's the most uncomfortable stand-up moment or stand-up set that you've had where you're just like, man, I can't wait for this to be over, or you've really, really bombed and you just want to get out of there?
I can't really say I really bombed. Let me knock on wood.
Okay.
But now I've had blank stares. Don't get me wrong, but I just had it when it was like so terrible. I just wanted to leave afterwards. But I would say it was one time. I think this was right after the pandemic. Actually, it was a guy who said, "Oh, you want to be on this comedy show?" And he wanted. I knew something was up. It was like comedy from like 6 to 10 p.m. So basically, it was some promoter, and he had like vendors, and he had like music. Anytime you do a show, and it's always other people too, like musicians, comedians, poets.
Yeah, it's not.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it was just nobody was paying attention.
Yeah, because they're not there to laugh.
No, and it's not a comedy atmosphere. That's why when you go to a comedy club, the lights are dim. You know, the focus of the light is on the stage. Everybody's geared towards the stage because it's hard for people to laugh out loud if all the lights are on. Because some people feel embarrassed about what they're laughing at, and they're like, "Oh, like I don't want anybody to see me laugh at that." But if it's all dark and intimate, you can basically laugh at what you want to laugh and not worry about people looking at you a certain way. So that's what I think.
The first time I did an open mic in LA, it was at the Whistle Pig in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it was
on Sunset.
And in the back they had set up this area, and I thought it was just a pure stand-up open set, and it was the same thing that you're talking about.
Okay.
It was like a variety show. The act I had to follow was a group of people that did a really sad dramatic reenactment of a song. They did like a real life human music video,
Okay.
and they were interpreting this really sad, I don't even remember what the song was,
What it was
but it was
about?
like really sad and dramatic. And then I had to follow that to do stand up. And I started off just like talking about that. I was like, well, that's going to be really hard to follow. That was really depressing.
And they did it in a bar too.
Yeah.
That okay, which is even more odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
This other time I had to, I did stand up at a fancy dinner party. A friend of mine used to throw these dinner parties, and he asked me one time, would you do some stand up as entertainment for the guests? I said, okay, sure. And it was okay. It was a little bit awkward because
You're
most
so brave. You're brave. But go ahead.
most people were there like not expecting it, but they kind of went along with it. They were.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was like
Yeah.
just enough energy where I was like not completely appalled to be there.
Yeah.
And then a person who had attended that asked me, oh, I'm going to be throwing kind of a similar party.
Okay.
And this restaurant is going to be testing out some new food. We're going to bring in all these guests. And there's going to be this like underground exclusive environment. And we want you to do stand up there. And I was like, okay, cool. And he gave me the address and I showed up. It was a nail salon.
A nail salon?
Yeah. It was in Thai Town area in LA.
Okay. How did that go?
It was terrible. So I showed up.
Yeah.
I'm the first person there. And the dinner's supposed to start in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this where the dinner is? He said, yeah, we're going to bring in tables and chairs and everything. They hadn't started setting up the dinner yet.
Yeah.
It was a nail salon. And then they were really frantic and rushing around they're clearly completely disorganized for this event.
Yeah.
And they said, can you come down the sidewalk with me and help me carry the food over from the restaurant? We're going to bring it in here. I was like, why don't we just do it at the restaurant then? I don't understand. But I was like, okay, sure. I helped them carry the food over. And it wasn't even cooked yet. It was raw.
What?
And then they had this dude show up with a single burner plate to start cooking food for 30 or 40 people.
Wow.
And meanwhile, everyone's showing up and they're all equally confused because it's a nail salon.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of standing around. It's very dimly lit. And then this other guy come in and start setting up the audio gear.
Oh.
And he goes, I don't know how to do it. You do comedy. You know how to set up audio stuff. I was
Really?
like, that's not the same craft. Shout out to audio engineers. So I set it up for them. It was just a simple PA system.
Oh, okay. It was like on my phone and a speaker.
Yes, basically.
Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it was just basically a mic and a speaker. Just plug it in, turn it on. I was like, it's not that
He
hard.
was doing the scratching head.
Yeah. And then they're like, hey, we're running a little behind. I said, yeah, I can tell. Could you just stall for us? Could you just start doing some comedy?
Yeah, that's why I said you're brave. Even before you went down this story path, because people who ask you to do comedy like on a whim or like, oh, can you just tell some jokes? They don't really know how comedy is or even think it's a serious thing. Like I get family members like that sometimes, like a family reunion. They're like, oh, I heard you're funny. Can you just go up there and just tell some? I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
What do they think it is? Like knock jokes?
Yeah, I don't know what they think. Like, you just going to go out there and just work because it is a job. Like, in front of this environment that's not even expecting that. It's like somebody just getting up there in the middle of a dinner, just start juggling or something silly. Like, yeah.
It's like you went to a surgeon on the subway, be like, I got this thing.
Can
you cut it out real quick?
That's exactly it's like just do this. Do this thing that you get paid for on the spot, not set up for it, like a surgeon on a bus trying to do surgery. Like, it doesn't work like that. Or they'll say stuff like, oh man, I seen this. Or I hate when people send me clips of other famous comedians. Like, all right, I already seen this, but why are you sending me this? I don't want to see Dion Cole. Like, why?
I've sent you clips.
Oh, that was you. That was you. Oh, that was you. Well, not you, Kenny.
Not the clips that specifically none of the clips that I've sent you.
I'm talking
Only
about
the
people.
that,
But you're in comedy, so you know. So when you send me something, it must be really funny. I'm talking about people who just are like, I don't know, they live somewhere. They're not in that business, so they don't really know.
Yeah,
so they
they're not
just
in the
send you
environment.
just random stuff, or they say things like, "Oh man, why don't you just give Steve Harvey a call?
just call him up.
Yeah, just call him."
My mom has said the same thing to me.
Really?
Not with Steve Harvey.
What?
She probably doesn't know who that is.
That's Steve Harvey. What's on the board? What?
She would be like, because she wants me to make Christian movies. And
Like-
she'll see these like movies on
Lifetime
TV.
channel?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. She'd be like, well, why don't you just contact that production company and just start making movies with them? I was like, well, one, they're in Texas, and I don't want to live there.
That's one.
Two, the movie sucked, so I don't want to be associated with it. Three, that's just not how it works. You know, if that's
Yeah.
how it worked, be like, well, let me just call the head of sitcoms.
Yeah, just like
Like, hey, can I get a part? Sure, come on in.
yeah.
It's not the 1920s. I don't even know if it was like that in the 1920s.
It probably was like you're gonna be a star kid. Yeah. Then they see you like in a mall, walking through the mall or something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I don't know why people. But you know, people probably do that, call them up and stuff, and they label those people as crazy. I
Yes.
think. So
No, there are very specific rules around even just
Sending
sending
your
an email to someone. The industry standard is if they don't respond, you can send another email to them
yeah.
after 2 weeks minimum. And if they don't respond after that, never email them again, or else you will be on the blacklist.
Oh wow. Okay. See. I
So
didn't even know
don't
that.
don't hassle people. They will think
Block
you're
you.
crazy. Like, 'cause if they want you, they'll
Yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah,
You don't have to hassle them about it.
that's true.
But yeah, you're a dad.
I am a dad.
Since when?
Since 2008.
So you got
Yeah.
15 years of dadisms.
Oh, you're trying to age me?
I'm ageist.
I'm still in my 20s. No, stop. I was at a comedy club the other day, and somebody was like, "Oh, I thought you were 28." I was like, "No,
How old were they?
they're older. They're like 50 or something like that." And I was like, "No."
See,
No.
that's where the crossover is between old people and young people. Because I've been teaching film classes
Okay.
full time at a high school. And they'll be like, Mr. P, how old are you? And I'll say, how old do you think?
Uh,
And you get guesses everywhere. They're like, 23, 52.
52.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was like, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. But so certain ages, I think, kind of forget how old people actually are.
That's true. That's true.
Like when they're really young, they think 21 is old. So
see
anyone
that.
beyond high school to them is just, it's all one group of people. And then when you get to your 70s, you're just like all those young people.
Yeah.
50
yeah.
and below.
But yeah, man. Three chicas.
How's
Tres
that been?
Chicas. It's been cool. You know, they're good kids. So, I mean, and now they're older now, so like helping out and stuff is pretty cool. And they're not bad at all. So, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun, to say the least.
Did you guys come out here to Phoenix in part because it's just easier to get more space for the whole family?
Honestly, I'm laughing because it wasn't my really decision to come out to Phoenix. So
I got you.
yeah, so it's like, I mean, I'm sure California has a lot of space too, but during the pandemic, California, things kind of dried up, and it's kind of like you're
It's still
doing all this stuff and going here, and the taxes there are insane.
Yeah.
So it's like, why am I here if we're not doing anything?
Yeah, my wife
So-
and I heavily considered moving to the Phoenix area during the pandemic.
Okay, you did too? Okay.
We came out here and like looked around thinking,
Yeah.
is this a good place to live? Because she makes wedding dresses.
Oh, she does? Okay.
Yeah. And the thing was, the kicker was, if we could have found fabric suppliers that were really good beyond Joann's Fabrics. Sorry, Joann's just not very good. But we'd still take a sponsorship, by the way.
You hear that, Michael? All right.
Yeah, but there just really isn't that sort of industry out here.
Got it. Okay.
So
LA Fashion District.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But all that to say, I don't know. I mean, after hiking in Colorado for a couple of weeks, I was like, I think Colorado's kind of nice too. I don't know. I like the cool temps.
You know, that is a plus.
It's not 100 plus degrees like, you know, last year in LA when it was summer through November.
It was pretty.
It was 100 degrees every single day, and I was like, come on, this is crazy.
Oh, yeah, then you don't want to be here then.
I know, that's the thing. Like, it's too...
You don't want to be here. Man. That's pretty cool, though. But, you know, Dave Chappelle lives like in Ohio.
Yeah, he lives in a small town. Ohio.
And
he
then,
can.
Yeah, he can. But I heard a podcast or a radio show the other day where, like, what's the guy who hangs out with him? Donnell Rollins actually moved to Ohio. But I think he can, too. So,
but I think you can now from anywhere.
You can now from anywhere. Yeah, it's easier if you're in the place. But you can do almost anything now from anywhere because of social media and stuff.
Right. But I feel like if you go to a medium-sized market, like Phoenix or Denver, for example, you have a little bit more chance of standing out and getting headline jobs at different local comedy clubs. Because I feel like in LA, it's just such a you're one of so many people. And
that's true.
And even if you are really good, it's hard just to get to compete with everyone. Like, you just don't stand out.
Yeah.
The first 2 years that I lived in California, I lived in the Bay Area.
Okay.
And after a handful of times of doing open mics there, I started getting offers to be openers at clubs around that area because the community was so small of stand-up comedians. Like, the pool of stand-up comedians was so...
Okay.
And I was just starting out. I wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Still not. But that's when I felt like, oh, okay, cool. I can go to LA and do this stuff. And then you go to LA and it was like, who's this guy? Who cares?
That's true. I mean,
and you look at some of the most famous stand-ups now, like one of my favorites right now is Theo. Theo Von.
Rat King.
Who lives in Nashville.
He lives in Nashville now?
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, he established himself first in LA.
Sure, but he doesn't need to stay in.
No, he doesn't need to. So yeah, if you don't need to, you can do the Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah.
Because you know what he did? He got that
Spotify deal and went to Texas.
And he moved to Texas. He walked through the desert like Moses and took like
$100 million.
Yeah, half the comedians with him, and they follow him. He's like, follow me. I know a place. And now he has a comedy club. So yeah, I guess you don't have to be in there per se. Because it definitely is a lot of people and it's a lot of competition. I think the goal is just to get a name for yourself, however you do it, or however. Then once you get the name for yourself, then you can pick and choose what's your best option to keep growing. Because there's a lot of people now that's like on social media who probably never even lived in New York or LA, and they probably get way more opportunities. So
one thing that like I was telling you earlier, I get really introspective when I go on hikes.
Okay.
And one thing that I had discussed with my therapist was what are my core values.
Why do you emphasize therapists like that?
Huh?
Why you emphasize that like that?
How did I emphasize it?
He's like, my therapist. Like,
sorry.
Like, is that something?
Her name is Chica. Shout out to Chica.
Okay, great.
She was like, well, what are your core values? Your core beliefs?
Okay.
And one thing I realized was I have denied myself a lot of the things that really bring me fulfillment and joy by being in LA, because those things that I used to do, a lot of like theater and stand-up, were so much easier to do when I lived in smaller towns. And there was less of a grind, there are fewer barriers between myself and doing that thing. So when you get to LA, it's all commercial. There's no, none of it is about bringing yourself joy. But if you go to a smaller town and you do community theater, all those people are there to do the craft. They're not there to make a name for themselves. They do it because they purely love that craft, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And they're more fulfilled doing that than anybody that I've met for the most part in LA who's even getting really successful. Like I had a friend who was for 5 years on a soap opera and she was burned out.
Oh, wow.
And she was living the dream, right? She had a full-time acting gig.
Yeah.
On a network television show. And she was burned out and moved to Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah, quit, went to Kentucky.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I get it.
And does theater in Louisville.
And she loves it.
Yeah. So, all that to say, I think there's something to be said for being in a smaller environment where it's just easier for you to exercise your voice, whatever that is, and whatever artistic form there is. Mm-hmm. Plus, like, so many of those stand-up shows in LA are so late. Like, open mic night starting at midnight. I'm a teacher. True. I got to get up. I can't, like, the grind doesn't work for me in my schedule. Like, I want to do it.
Yeah.
But when the shows are starting after 10 or 11, like why can't... You said, it's a red flag when the show starts at 6 to 10 p.m. with that variety show. I was like, I wouldn't mind a 6 o'clock stand-up set, but nobody's coming after work at 6 o'clock to go see a show anyway.
That's true too. That's true. I mean, it's definitely, it's a grind, man. I think it's for people who want to have that name, I guess I should say, or wants to do that or be whatever they saw on television or TV. If you want to be a household name, then it's just part of the process, I guess.
Yeah.
So even Broadway going to New York. So
the money aspect is appealing, mm-hmm. but at the same time, I think I feel happier when I'm just doing what I want to do, regardless of the money. I think
that's what every artist though, because even if you want to get to that pinnacle where you're a household name, you want to get there, but it's not guaranteed that you are. So the money is never really a drive. It shouldn't. I don't think it will ever be a driving force. You actually love to do what you're doing, and then you can happen to make a lot of money.
Yeah, the money follows.
Do it. Yeah. So that's like the icing on the cake. But the real thing is you just want to do it within hopes of living. Because who doesn't want to have money? So.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So now I'm going to read you some jokes.
Okay.
And these are all jokes that you've not heard before, but I wrote them.
So these are your jokes?
They're my jokes.
Okay. And these are your jokes?
Do not take them.
Okay. These are jokes where you, were hiking?
This is jokes, yeah, sort of, but I just write stuff down as they come to my mind in general.
Okay.
So.
And then what do you want me to do when you tell me?
So you're going to rate them from 1 to 10.
Okay.
And just go with your first instinct. You don't have to think about it. You can dissect it after you rate it if you want.
Okay.
You can give me feedback if you want.
After I rate it, okay.
After you rate it, but just give me your initial response to the joke.
Are we still gonna be friends?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be friends. You
want me to give you my honest response? Or
yeah.
My friend. Okay, all right.
I want you to be brutally honest.
All right. People don't like.
That's why this show is called Jokes on Me.
Okay, all right.
That's the name of the show.
Okay, I'm gonna be really honest. But then I'm going to have some tats later, but I'm going to be really honest.
Now, we're starting off. The first joke isn't really clean.
That's just fine. Go for it. It's your podcast, man.
Okay. The phrase anal play suggests the existence of anal work.
That's an 8.
It's an 8? Really?
Yeah, that's funny. I don't know why I thought that was funny, but that's funny. All right. That's a funny concept.
Like the intro to, like, you could do something with that.
You definitely can.
Or would you just leave it there and then go on completely?
No, I would make that totally long somehow, and then go into a story about working in that type of aspect. That's funny because that's true. All work and no play, that type of thing. Yeah. Because it's stuff that's already in people's head. Yeah. That whole phrase.
Yeah.
So if you say anal play, And then what's anal work? Like,
Yeah.
oh man, again, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what she wants. Like,
9 o'clock again. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. That's next. Here we go.
All right.
I'm a hypocrite in that I'll pray to God to keep my pet safe and healthy while eating a steak.
I'm gonna say it's like a 6 or a 7. It's a good concept.
You're flattering me because I genuinely didn't expect to get these high of numbers.
No,
Because this is
that's a
just the
good-
dumbest stuff that I could come up with.
That's a good concept. The statement's not funny,
The premise.
but the premise is
Okay.
a good. But the first thing you said was funny, like off top. But that's a good concept. That's a good concept. So
Okay.
I'll rate it if it's a good concept.
I wish I had a mentally disabled child. So when they do something that's dumb but funny at the same time, I could say, "What are you, retarded?" And they'd laugh and laugh, and I'd laugh and laugh, but for totally different reasons. Then they are laughing. But I challenge you to find a father and child bond stronger than that, liberals.
I don't know. I'm gonna rate that probably a 4, Kenny, because that's
They got a hard R.
yeah. You can, you know what, you can get away with it.
In comedy, you can say retarded, and people think it's funny. But if you say it in a
depends.
classroom,
It,
and I've never done that before, by the way.
it depends. If it's really smart, you can get away with it. But if you just blurt it out, trying to be funny, some people would. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that. I wouldn't say that.
Okay, next.
Okay.
It's called penmanship, not penwomanship, is something I could imagine the Florida Department of Education saying.
Penmanship.
Pen, you know, like the word penmanship.
Oh, okay.
It has the word man in the middle.
I get it.
So they would say in Florida, where you've spent a lot of time.
I get it. I'm gonna say that's about a 3.
Okay.
That's a 3. All right, here come. See, now you get into your element.
Yeah. Okay. I want to invent a dating app for Muslims called Halal Meets.
That's gonna be a 3 too, Kenny. I don't think you can get away with that one.
But wait, here's the tagline.
Okay.
It gets worse. The tagline for the app would be called, "It's the right way to get porked."
Yeah, that's gonna be a 3. It could, but you have to like play. I don't know. That's gonna be hard because you're not Muslim.
I know.
So it's gonna be.
Well, how do you know?
You just don't give off the Muslim vibe.
All right,
And
that's
then
fine.
your name is Kenny. It's not like.
Well, that's fine, but I could still
You have
have
to change it.
converted.
I guess so. I guess so.
Okay, here's the next
But you have
one.
to tell people. You have to play into it because they wouldn't just believe it.
Here's where it gets real dicey, okay?
Okay.
I think it'd be funny if there was a black guy whose last name was N-word, spelled ENWARD.
ENWARD.
And then when he would go for a job interview, they'd be like, "Welcome, Mr. N-word, to the job interview." And he'd be like, "What'd you say?"
I'm gonna give that a 2. I'm gonna give that a. That's, yeah, that one.
Doesn't work.
Nah,
It's too dark.
I don't think it was funny. I don't know. It's
Okay, it is. All right.
just- but you keep playing with that one. You hopefully you don't get canceled. Keep going with that one. But
Okay. I had a joke idea. This is more of a bit than anything.
Okay.
I've decided to always order food in the accent of the cuisine of the people who make the cuisine that I'm eating. So, for example, if I'm eating Indian food, I will only order the food in an Indian accent, and I'll stare at them and say it in an Indian accent. And here's the reason why. My first teaching job was in Korea, and there was this restaurant that I used to go to called School Pizza next to the school that I taught. And a lot of times in Korea, the menu items are written out phonetically in English, but in sort of a Korean pronunciation.
Got it.
So, for example, I would order this pizza called hot chicken pizza.
Okay.
It was the only pizza that had spice on it. But they put all of it together in one word, hot chicken pizza.
Okay.
And so this is kind of common. If a menu was in English, it would be like that. It would be like the words all just smashed together.
Yeah.
And so I went to order the first time, and I said, "Il one hot chicken pizza." And the guy behind the counter goes, "Eh?" And I said, "Il hot chicken pizza." Eh? And then I was like, okay, well, if I did this in the U.S., it would probably be very offensive, but I'm going to do it here. Il hot chicken pizza. And he went and made the food. He didn't understand it unless I leaned really hard into my best Korean accent.
Okay. That's funny. The very first thing you said about it, like I should do this in different accents when I order food, that wasn't funny. But you explained a story to why you did that, and that actually makes sense. So I think that's really funny. That's probably the funniest one you said.
Really?
And I'm going to tell you why. The anal thing was funnier, but this is probably the best one because it's uniquely you.
That's my experience.
It's your experience, and it's also, it makes sense, and so that's funny.
Would you open up with that idea of when I go to a restaurant, I only order in their accent, or would you start off with the story?
I'll start off with the story.
And then go, and that's why when I go to a restaurant.
And then I will start off with a story. Then once you start off with that real authentic story, then you can probably go into like other accents of just made up stuff.
Yeah.
And people will give you a pass. So.
Because you established it already.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one.
The follow-up bit, and we're almost done.
Okay.
The follow-up bit for that is in Korea. I had another similar experience where I tried to buy a cell phone. It was 2007.
Okay.
And I went to Korea because I couldn't get a job right out of college. Economic downturn.
And when you say Korea, this is South Korea?
Yeah, I wasn't in North.
I'm just playing.
I would.
When people say Korea, you already know it's South Korea.
Low key, if I had the security detail, I would go to North Korea just to see it.
You go to see?
I would go.
Really?
Would you go?
No. I'm good.
You wouldn't go with like Dennis Rodman and whoever else likes together?
No, because when they say we need you to play basketball, they'll find out I'm like a fraud. They're like, he's a spy. Can't, but no, I'm good.
I knew a guy that taught at my school, and he was black, or probably still is, I'm guessing.
Like how you say he was. Look at Sammy Sosa. You don't know.
Maybe he's dead. I don't know. This is a long time ago, but he was from Alaska.
Really?
And he, the interview process is kind of quick. A lot of times they don't even do a video. They just call you a few times. And they showed up to pick him up at the airport. And he said the first thing they said to him was, "Oh, you're not white."
And when they picked him up, because they talked to him over the phone, he must have had a name like Albert. All right.
His name was Jose.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they even thought something different.
But he did have a very white sounding accent. I mean, partially because from Alaska. But maybe what I found out.
So he was from Alaska and he got the job in Korea.
Yes.
Oh,
and when they went to pick him up at the airport, they're like, "Oh, you're not white." That was the first thing they said to him.
Wow. Okay.
And that was his expression too. He's like, "Okay." But he, of all the people, ended up going to jail for one day because they would do immigration checks. Because because there were a lot of people, including myself, that were working for cash. And
Working for cash?
Yeah, I didn't have a work visa.
Oh, okay. Oh, paying in cash. Okay.
And so they would show up. Immigration officials would just randomly show up
Really?
and check your paperwork. Anyway, so a few times the secretary of the school would be like, Kenny teacher, you must leave immediately. Immigration coming. So I would leave and
They
walk
say
around.
Kenny teacher.
Yeah, that's what they say. I would leave and walk around Seoul and come back a few hours later. And he insisted on finishing one of his lessons instead of leaving. And he got caught, and they arrested him and took him to jail for a day. And he said everybody else that was in jail was also another English teacher. It's not even actual crime going on. It's just English teachers getting arrested working for cash.
I would like to see that like right wing news station.
Yeah, cleaning up the streets.
Yeah. They keep just flooding in. All these English teachers, they're crossing over. They're taking our jobs.
We need to close down that border.
Yeah, that would be a funny news station.
Right wing Korea propaganda.
Yeah.
Hey, it's growing.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. That's crazy though. That's a funny story though.
Yeah.
You can tell that story and make it funny.
Yeah.
Definitely make it
funny.
funny.
You watch. I'll find a way to not make it funny.
Nah, that was funny. That was good.
Anyway, I got more, but that's okay.
Got it. Okay.
Well, thanks for
Appreciate it.
your conversation and your brutal honesty with my. I won't even say they're jokes.
I want
sometimes.
to see these jokes though, man. You gotta post them, or when you do a show, film it and put it up.
That's what this is. We're gonna clip it out.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're gonna tag me, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Not tag me, because if this gets big, then I can say I knew you.
But what if it gets canceled and you're part of the clip?
No, I'm not getting canceled. If you notice, I didn't use the R word and the N word. Nah, I didn't
say the N word. I literally said N word.
Yeah, he said N word. Okay.
His last name is EN.
Yeah.
WARD.
I don't want you guys to clip it out and say that and like you have like 80 people at your house. Like, God. But you did say the R word.
Yeah.
So you might have the wrong.
I stand by that too.
Okay, so see. So you might have the wrong different type of 80 people at your house. They're all in. Come outside. All right, that's my cancellation right there.
My sister works with Down syndrome people.
Oh man.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you did finish this clip, congratulations. You probably should see a therapist. Shout out again to Do the Damn Thing Studios for hosting this. Very nice place. Downtown Phoenix. If you ever need to go record something, hit them up. They charge.
They'll fit your budget. That's what I'll say.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Peace, man.